G5 Jeff TV. There's a subscribe button. Please hit it. There's a like button. Please hit it. And if you don't mind, if you're feeling extra nice, please share the video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. Brandon Bam Rios coming off of a knockout loss to Danny Swift Garcia. Danny was just the better man in there on Saturday night. 9 out of 10 people expected Danny Garcia to win the fight. But it was a toss-up whether he was going to get the knockout or not. And eventually he did get the knockout. Now, my question, and this is out of all due respect, should Brandon Rios retire? I think it's a legitimate question. Brandon Rios is one of the warriors in boxing. He's been one of the warriors in boxing. And I honestly feel like a fighter's career should be managed in the correct way, not only from a money standpoint, but from a promotional standpoint, exposure standpoint, but also a health standpoint as well. And the thing with Brandon Rios, I appreciate everything that he's done in the sport of boxing, the wars that he had with Mike Alvarado. I'm very appreciative of those fights. What he did to Anthony Peterson, the dirty fight he had with Diego Chavez, his reign at 135 pounds. And, I think the start of the downfall for him was, I forgot who he was fighting, but it was at 135 pounds, and I think he lost his title on the scales or barely made weight, but he was standing on the scale, and he just looked like death. Like, he looked like death with boxing trunks on. Like, he looked completely drained and everything. And I know they had a 2-day with HBO about that. And it seemed like from that point forward, it seemed like his career just started going down. And I always thought he stayed at 135 for too long. And anybody that's been listening to my videos know how I feel about, a drastic weight cut to make weight. If you don't do it the right way or you cut too much weight, your punch resistance is not going to be as much as if you were to cut a lower amount of weight in the correct way. And I think that's what Brandon Rios suffered from. He fought Timothy Bradley and got stopped, and that's not like Brandon Rios. And, he took a beating on the hands of by the hands of Manny Pacquiao, and now we have this Danny Garcia fight. And whether he goes into the ring and gets beat or not is one thing, but with Brandon Rios, I look at punch resistance, and his punch resistance is not half of what it was, back when he was 135 and, a couple of years ago. So I think just those fight after fight, just constant weight cut has really affected his body. Now, the question is, should he retire? It depends. I think he's been in enough big fights to where I think financially you would assume that he's good. I don't ever like to count the next man's pockets because it's not paying my bills. But, he's had a number of big fights that a lot of fighters don't get a chance to get. So I'm assuming financially he's probably okay. But just in case he's not okay, I would not put Brandon Rios against any unknown fighters. The man has a name. He's earned his name. He's earned his stripes in the business. And, I think too highly of Brandon Rios to put him up like on some gatekeeper status and put him up against a guy that's up and coming, and the up and coming guy gets his name off of Brandon Rios. I really don't want to see that happen to Brandon Rios. So from a health standpoint, I think he should retire. But if he has to fight again, I would put him up against Victor Ortiz. They got some personal beef going on. Victor Ortiz just came off of a knockout, not a knockout, but a draw against Devin Alexander. But the majority of the people thought Devin Alexander won that fight. So if Brandon Rios is going to continue his career, which, if I was him, I would just, maybe get a fight against a low level guy just to get a victory and go out on a high note. But if he's going to try to be competitive and stay in the sport, I would like to see him against Victor Ortiz. That'd be a good fight. Um, Even an Andre Berto fight would be a good, entertaining fight. Who else at 147? Luis Collazo would be a good fight. Now I think about it, I mean, there's some fights out there for Brandon Rios. He just can't fight the top guys at 147 guys. There's some mid-level guys that he can definitely be competitive against. But I just think health-wise, I just think is I'm concerned to a certain extent, for Brandon Rios. It kind of reminds me of Brandon Rios right now. Kind of reminds me of Robert the Ghost Guerrero before he retired, and I'm talking about even before the Omar Figueroa fight. Like he lost to the cab driver, and even before that, you could just see him slipping. You could see the punch resistance was just not there, and with Robert the Ghost Guerrero after the Omar Figueroa fight, I think he just knew, like, this is not me. I'd rather just go out, you know, and not get myself hurt. So that's the question that Brandon Rios is going to have to ask. But I mean, if he wants to continue fighting, there's definitely about maybe 4 or 5 fights out there for him where he can get nice paydays and actually be competitive in those fights. So big shout out to Brandon Rios, man. I hate doing these videos. I did one for Lamont Peterson, but he's a warrior in the game. And what happens is a lot of these guys have these trilogies with him, with Mike Alvarado. It just takes a toll on you. It takes years off of your boxing life. And as fans, I know me personally, I appreciate everything that Brandon Rios has done inside of the ring. So if he retires, he's had a really good career. If he doesn't retire, I just hope they match him up with the right people, a Victor Ortiz, a Andre Berto, a Luis Collazo. Rematch with Diego Chavez would be okay too. And it's a bunch of other guys that he can jump in there with that has names. Just don't give him the gatekeeper status and put him up against a up-and-coming guy, because he could lose that fight and then not get paid on top of that. So, y'all let me know what y'all think. If y'all think Brandon Rios should retire or continue to fight. It's G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. Appreciate y'all. Peace.